All right, here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to get started here. We're going to start off with a bang. Because have you ever wondered why your muscles are so tight? Why you get these knots, especially in the upper back or the mid back or low back? Why they get these tender, tight knots? And you stretch, but yet they don't go away. They're still sore. They're still tight. Well, we're going to look into something that you might not have thought of, your spine. All right. So welcome to Back Talk with Dr. Ryan. I'm Dr. Ryan Wolfert, and my goal is to help you strengthen your spine so you can live a long, healthy, active, pain-free, drugless life and be your own guarantee for your health in your life. And we're going to talk today about these tight muscles and why they just won't go away. So a big reason or a big misconception is that it's a muscle problem. It's a muscle issue. But if it's in the back, if it's in the shoulders or even the chest, the upper back and neck, well, a lot of times it's a spinal structural issue. Not that there's, something, a tumor or anything like that, but just there should be an ideal shape to the spine, an ideal structure and positioning of the spine. And what happens is if it's not in the right position, if it's misaligned, well, now the muscles lose their leverage because the muscles attach to the spine. So if the spine is not in the correct position, now there's going to be different stresses and strain placed on the muscles, and they're not going to be able to do their job. And one thing that can happen is they get tight and they just don't let go because you might be stretching, but if you're not doing anything for your spinal posture, it's just going to keep coming back over and over again, or it's just not going to go away. Because think about your spine like a house's framework. All right. You have a framework of a house where you put nails in and you put the bricks in, or like the wood up and the siding and the plywood and drywall and all that good stuff. Well, that stuff is like the muscles. It has to attach to something. So if the house framework is crooked or weak, doesn't matter how strong the bricks are, doesn't matter how strong the plaster is or the flooring is, it's not going to have the ideal framework or ideal attachment points, if you will, like the muscles don't have that ideal attachment points, and they're going to be pulling and weakening and losing their efficient function because they're not going to have its leverage that they're built to have. So that's why an aligned spine is so important for decreasing or loosening up tight muscles because of what they attach to, which is the spine. All right. So how does this happen? So because a misaligned spine or a distorted spinal posture causes the muscles to not pull as efficiently as they should, well, now muscles on other areas of the spine have to compensate for that. So now extra work, extra load is placed on those, just like if you're carrying a suitcase, for example, or a bag on one side, a duffel bag, or even maybe a heavy purse or a grocery bag. Your body is going to compensate and shift, and your muscles are going to compensate for that uneven load. And if you are trying to just alter that compensation, then that leads to other compensations. But it's these inherent mechanisms that the spine and muscles automatically do when we introduce these uneven loads. And what about even your strength? Does this affect your strength? It absolutely affects your strength because it makes sense now, hopefully, of why the muscle gets tight and gets the tightness if the spine is an attachment point for these muscles. So the spine is here and a muscle is here, and it should have this, that length to it. Well, now if the spine goes this way, guess what? We're creating a extra stress and strain on that muscle. But what can also happen is it loses its strength. It loses the ability to contract at its maximal ability. It loses its strength, loses its power. And if you're trying to, again, as an analogy, as an example, if you're trying to push a heavy object on an uneven surface, or even if it's a wobbly surface, you're not going to generate the strength. So if the spine is wobbly, if the spine is uneven, those muscles are not going to generate the strength and power. The spine, a healthy spine, a strong spine, an upright spine with the right positioning provides a solid base for the muscles to have effective movement and provide effective movement. What about, we talked a little bit about, or I mentioned a little bit about the leverage, and it allows the muscles to work efficiently because an aligned spine allows the muscles to work efficiently because it reduces the stress and strain on the muscles. And an example of, that's why you maintain your car, or one of the reasons you maintain your car, is you get the oil changes, you get the tires rotated, you get the tires changed, make sure it's aligned, get tune-ups, brakes, what else is there? Spark plugs. You make sure that all of those are functioning at their highest level, so everything else is efficient and runs smoothly in the car. It's the same thing we want in the spine, because when that's aligned and upright in a strong upright position, so from the front we want the head directly, so the middle of the head over the middle of the trunk over the middle of the pelvis, and from the side we want the ear over the shoulder, over the hip, over the ankle. That's the ideal postural alignment of our posture. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the correct position of your spine, but it's a good indication of what your spinal health is, or if there's any spinal misalignments. Because when it's in that position, you're going to have efficiency, like we said. You're going to have more energy available because you're not going to be fighting. Your muscles aren't going to be fighting against gravity. So now those resources used to just try to keep you upright and erect can be shuttled to other areas to help your body heal. It can be shuttled to your metabolism. It can be shuttled to your digestion or your immune system. So, that's how your spine plays even an important role in the rest of your overall health. And when we introduce too many tasks for your body, right? If we add one more thing for it to do, like, again, trying to heal these tight muscles, or these muscles are just continually tight because the spinal positioning, that's one more task thrown in that your body has to deal with, and it causes the overload. If you're trying to juggle, not sure if you juggle or not. If you're not expert juggler, disregard this example. But if you have two balls, you can handle and manage both of those. But now if someone keeps throwing balls into the mix, now I got 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and you're trying to juggle all these, you're using so much of your bandwidth, it's not enough to heal your body. So we want to create at least one less thing that your body has to deal with, which is the juggling ball of the poor spinal alignment, which is causing the tight muscles. So we want to remove the stress and ease that workload. Now, I mentioned already one way to try to identify if you have any spinal misalignments, which is your posture. Posture is a window to your spine and your nervous system function. So if you're in a posture where you're in a prolonged forward flex, that's a common one, whether you're sitting, standing, looking at technology, where if you're lifting, if you're gardening, if you're washing the dishes, whatever it is, if you're in these positions, which is outside the ideal alignment for your spine, which is head directly over the middle of your chest, the middle of your pelvis, ear, shoulder, hip, ankle. If you look at yourself and those are not in a straight line, well, now you're causing increased stress and strain on the muscles, causing them to work overtime. Now, another way to identify if you have a spinal misalignment, it's actually the most accurate way, the best way, is through standing spinal x-rays. And this actually, we can see inside of your body, see the spine in its quote unquote regular normal state for you and identify if there's any injuries or what damage is already there, what the actual structure of your spine looks like, and identifying whether, okay, does it have the curves in the right spot that it should and to the right amount, both quantity and quality. And it's the same thing from straight up and down. We want to make sure there's no curves looking at you from the front. We want to make sure there's 3 even curves looking at you from the side. If you've never had standing spinal x-rays done, I highly recommend them. If you need help finding somebody, again, just comment help in the comments and I'll reach out and we'll try to organize something and give you some information on where you can find somebody to help you out with that. If not, then I'll help you out with it. Okay. It's that important. And another way to know if you have spinal misalignment, it's kind of what we've been talking about. Tight muscles. If you have tightness in your neck, upper back, mid back, low back, in the muscles and they're tight and yet you can feel these knots, those are indication that you have spinal misalignment. If you have headaches, if you have low energy, if your digestive function isn't what it's ideally what you want it to be, or if you're having symptoms like that, those can also be signs. Those are down the line and hope you don't have those, but those are signs and symptoms. Okay. All right. I'm going to share this with you because it's a study about let me share my screen. Okay. Well, let me go to the top. So this was a study, and I'm not going to read through the whole thing, but it's a comparison of 2 forward head posture corrective approaches in the elderly with chronic non-specific neck pain. So a lot of times that means tight muscles. The muscles are just, they're weak, they're tight, they're not functioning like they should. So what happens is they did 2, there. This is in the Journal of Clinical Medicine, 2023, looking at forward head posture. They did 2 groups. One of the groups was the Chiropractic Biophysics group. So that's CBP. This is a corrective spinal technique using postural exercises. And in this study, they did the postural exercises based off of their x-ray findings and also specific forms of traction, which right here I want to show you. So that is a form of traction. That's what they did with this study. It's called the cervical deneural traction. And this is important because this helps to remold the ligaments and putting them into a stronger positioning. Because when the spine gets distorted, misaligned for periods of time, then now these ligaments tighten up and they need to be remolded, remodeled in the new position. They have to be held there for a certain period of time. So one group had this, and then the other group had standard exercises that are common in rehab type programs, where it's strengthening exercises, but nothing really working on the positioning of the spine. So that spine doesn't have the lordosis. This one does. So this is doing a corrective exercise, like in the CBP group, to correct the structure, and also lying on this device. There are different forms of traction, but this is the device that was used and that CBP often recommends. So what did they find? I almost ended the stream. I don't want to do that. Stop the sharing. So they found, let me get back to here's what they found. Hopefully you guessed it because I'm going over this, but the CBP group got better outcomes in both the head posture, head and neck posture, and their overall health outcomes. So they had less pain, decreased neck pain, but also improvements in their sensory motor function, which means they had better balance. Their proprioception, they had better balance in those, and it lasted longer than the other group as well. So this leads us perfectly into the next step, the next part of this, which is how do you correct and how do you strengthen your spine? How do you strengthen your spinal alignment? I gave a little framework there with the exercises and traction, but then we also add in adjusting your lifestyle and nutrition. So to put it all together, to make it easy to understand and easy to remember, it's EATM, EATM. So exercises, both general full body exercises, cardio, strength training, balance training, sports, dancing, anything that gets your body moving. And then in a general way, walking, jogging. But then also we want to do specific spinal hygiene exercises. Oh, I said it like that. Spinal hygiene exercises, just like we take care of our teeth every day, brushing our teeth, flossing, hopefully. We want to do the same thing with the spine, taking it through its ranges of motion so it doesn't lose that. Another part of exercise is specific postural corrective exercises, and that's based on your postural distortions. Common one is the forward head posture. So one is, again, doing not just chin tucks, but specifically to correct the postural distortion of anterior head translation. So it's taking that. A great way to do this, and is what they showed in this study, is you take your chin out fully, and I'm showing you this just as an example, like there are nuances to this. So if you're looking at videos that are just showing you go like this, you could be causing more problems in the spine. That's why I suggest getting standing spinal x-rays. So a true posterior head translation is, so you're here, you jut the chin out, you look up, and then you take your chin down this way, okay? So you see it's not just pulling back, chin out, look up, and then chin and head down in more of a diagonal 45-degree angle. Again, that's if you have a true forward head translation, anterior head translation it's called. Best way, again, to find out, well, that's with spinal x-rays. So adjusting is the A, so adjustments to your lifestyle. As a chiropractor, you probably think of adjustments as spinal adjustments, hands-on adjustments, getting your back cracked, those types of things. Well, I'm using this in another way because I want to make sure you're adjusting your lifestyle, your postural lifestyle, how you sit, stand, bend, move, lie down, drive, sleep. Because if you're propped up, if you are shifted off to the side, if you're on your phone and you're hunched over for 20 to 30 minutes, that's long enough for your spine to start going in the unhealthy opposite direction as a strong, healthy spine. Remember, head over head over trunk, over pelvis, from the side, ear, over shoulder, over hip, over ankle. That's the alignment you want to be in most of the time. Traction. So that was the traction that I showed you with that cervical traction unit called the Denerol. Again, that's one form. That's one tool, an instrument to be used or that people use. And that one it's prescribed. It's not like something you should just get off of Amazon or the internet and just put it there without knowing what your spine looks like. So the traction helps to remold the spine, hold it there so that it stays there. Similar to how you put braces on teeth to reshape the structure of the teeth in your mouth. Last thing is nutrition. That's the N. So eating, exercise, adjust your lifestyle, traction, and nutrition. The raw materials. You need to have the raw materials to build the bones up, the discs, the ligaments, the muscles, the nervous system, to have it strong and healthy. Again, I'm going to do another video, possibly another back talk, just addressing what type of foods and going more into depth of what foods are the best and how to do it. But for now, just the hydration. You want to make sure you stay hydrated. Drinking water. Simple tip, put some sea salt in your water, just a dash or two. That helps to deliver the water and get inside the cells better. Fatty, healthy fats. we love healthy fats here because it helps to increase better function of your body, of the cells. Again, the bones are made up of cells. The ligaments are made up of cells. The muscles, the joints, made up of cells. So we want to make sure they have the healthy fats in order for them to create themselves and rebuild themselves in the way that will be healthy and strong. So fatty fish is always great. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, avocado, olive oil. I said avocado, nuts and seeds are also very helpful. Just want to make sure, as well as what the next one, like protein. We want nice, healthy, high quality protein. We want to make sure that it's organic. We want to make sure that it's free range, pasture raised, grass fed, wild caught. We want to make sure our protein is in the most natural state. I shouldn't say natural, because most of the time you're going to cook it, right, for a lot of these proteins, but just as simple categories for you to remember there, because nutrition is important. But as we wrap this part of it up, I just want you to understand, and hopefully you understand now, how important it is to have good spinal posture, good spinal structure, in order for the muscles to be strong, to have the leverage, so they're not tight, so they can to work and function how they're intended, so you're not wasting a ton of energy, and how they're not wasting a ton of energy and taking away from other systems of your body, we don't want them obviously causing pain or symptoms, which they often do. And we want to make sure we give you, and you do things to help sustainably get rid of the tight muscles. Your muscles are going to work. That's what they're there to do, but we want to make them work as efficiently as possible. So if you want, what you can do is type in spine, and what I'll do in the live chat here is I'll put the link to it. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, download my spinal hygiene mini class. But if you're watching on the replay, type in spine, and I will send it to you to make sure that you get the spinal hygiene mini class. So hopefully you learned why you have tight muscles and why a lot of times they don't go away. All right, so while I am getting this link for everybody in the chat here, right there. If you go there, you can download it. I'm going to take a sip, and if you have any comments or questions, go ahead and leave them in the chat. If not, I'm going to go over another topic that I made just for today. And let's see. Okay, it doesn't look good. Anybody? I don't see any chat. Well, I guess we're going to learn about energy then. Your body's secret energy switch that we don't want it to be a secret anymore. Bring up the links I got just to make sure they are here. Okay. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm going to take one little more. All right, here we go. So if you have low energy, even though your nutrition, your exercise, your sleep seems to be fine, you feel like you're doing pretty well with that, maybe you've been told that it's your thyroid, or it's your metabolism, or my favorite, you're just getting older. Well, what if the real issue was actually your spine and your spinal structure? So that's what we're going to talk about right now in this part of the back talk with me. So we're going to talk about low energy because it's such a common problem. It's often blamed on, like I said, metabolism, the thyroid, getting older. But we know that it's not just about that. Because you could probably take things to help lose weight or improve your metabolism, or take energy drinks to help your energy, but it's not a sustainable thing. So where we're going to look today is at the spine, because the spine many times is one of the root causes of your energy getting lower, as well as even your metabolism going down, even your digestion and immune system function not performing like it should. Because overall, give you a big 10,000 foot view, the spine houses your nervous system, right? It has a spinal cord on the inside. So that's the extension of the brain, right? Goes down through the spine in the form of the spinal cord. So with a healthy aligned spine, when it's strong from the front, we got the head over the rib cage, over the pelvis, got the ear over the shoulder, over the hip, over the ankle, directly. Again, I'm going to keep repeating this because I want you to keep getting this over and over again. Repetition, you're going to keep learning it over, or it's going to finally sink in what you want for a healthy posture, healthy spinal posture. Because in that position, the spinal cord is relaxed. Think about a rubber band as the spinal cord. If we stretch it, if we pull it apart, obviously the rubber band gets tight, gets tense, it's thinner, it's not going to function or work as well. That's what happens in a distorted spinal posture. It's stretching the spinal cord. And when it's relaxed, well, now it can help obviously support the nervous system, healthy nervous system function, but also the immune system, digestive function, and also your metabolic system. So let's break this down. Your spine, think about it's the central highway for your nervous system. By allowing it to be in this correct alignment, it makes sure there's smooth communication and function coming from the brain. The signals coming from the brain can get down through the spinal cord, get out through the nerves, through every single cell, tissue, and organ without getting interfered with. So it keeps clear, open communication, clear signals between your brain and your lungs and your gut and your legs and your hips and every single cell, tissue, and organ in your body and your immune system. So that's how we want it. So let's talk immune system. When there's not efficient communication with the immune cells, well, now I think it stands to reason, right? Well, now it's going to leave you vulnerable to different illnesses. Your body is not going to heal as fast as if it was in this ideal alignment and your immune cells were getting that nervous system signals and communication as efficiently as it should. So just like you don't want a partially working security system, which is like your immune system, you don't want a partially working immune system because eventually it's going to weaken, gaps in the coverage. We don't want gaps in the immune system coverage. We want it strong and healthy at all times. Now, what about digestion? Well, here is another one, and I'm going to show you a study in a second. The proper alignment, go back to the nervous system. It prevents these scrambled signals and communication that's going to your gut, that's going to your stomach. And when that happens, if those nervous system signals are interfered with because of poor spinal structure, well, now that can lead to symptoms like bloating, constipation, heartburn, reflux. And I'm going to share my screen because this is a study from the American College of Surgeons. I think you can see that, right? Make sure. Yep. Yeah. So the association of kyphosis, what that means is I like to say it's hyperkyphosis, so this is the mid-back curve. So this is that hunchback that you've probably heard about, especially if you're watching this. So association of kyphosis and spinal skeletal abnormalities with intrathoracic stomach. So essentially it's looking at does having an excessive kyphosis, so the relationship between this type of distorted, especially this one, spinal posture, if there's more of a kyphosis, does that lead to problems in the stomach, like an intrathoracic stomach, or hiatal hernia is the way that you get the stomach coming up through that hole. So what did they find? They saw that with an increase in the spinal curve, particularly hyperkyphosis, it plays a significant role in causing an intrathoracic or in leading to or correlated with, I don't want to say causing for sure, but correlated with these intrathoracic stomachs. So larger hyperkyphosis, higher occurrence of an intrathoracic stomach. So digestion, so a digestive organ. So you see how that can have an effect on your digestion. So what about metabolism? Can it affect your metabolism? Well, what do you think? If I'm talking about it, more than likely, your metabolism is your body's energy. Your body's engine. Your body's engine and helps your body use and convert the food you take into energy. So by having a good metabolism, you're converting the food that you're taking into your body into energy at a better level. So a poor spinal structure causes problems in the efficient processes of this metabolism, and in turn causes poor support in weight management and weight control and energy management, because those metabolic signals are getting all distorted because the nervous system is under stress, and then it causes lower energy. So neurologically it's happening because the nervous system is affected. But now let's take it even in terms of your body mechanics, your spine's mechanics and biomechanics, let's say. So if you're in this hunched over or distorted position side to side, and your spine in your body is not aligned optimally with gravity, to where now it's having to overwork. Now the muscles are working too hard. Now your immune system's having to work too hard. Your metabolism's working your digestion's going in overdrive. The nervous system is stressed. Basically, these are all stresses to the body. And then your body's going to overwork. It's going to lower the energy because it's constantly just fighting gravity. So we don't want to put ourselves in that position, or else it's going to keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. Well, how do we know it's getting weaker? How do we know it's getting distorted? What are the signs? And I'm going to go over this again. You might have heard this before. So one, how do you identify and recognize if your spine is weak? Best way to do it, I think, and what I've been doing for years, is standing spinal x-rays. So we can actually see on the inside what your spine looks like. Is the structure good? Is it aligned in an ideal position? So that's number one. Number two, look at your posture. Posture, it's a window to your spine and nervous system function. That's why we want to look at that. It's not as accurate or not as ideal as looking at getting standing spinal x-rays, but it's a good second place, because we can see from the outside, all right, is your head and neck shifted to one side and it's not aligned over your chest. You might even take a look at this. This might be a good test for you, because people are very surprised to learn that their head is on crooked. When I had migraine headaches, when I went to a chiropractor the first time when I was 13 years old, and he took standing spinal x-rays, and he showed me my head was on crooked, and it was shifted to, I can't remember exactly what side it was shifted to, but it was shifted to one side. Take a look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your nose, or actually even like right here between the eyes, and then the middle of your chest. And I want you to see if it's straight over the top or not. It might be great. More often than not, your head's not going to be tipped to one way or the other, maybe a little bit, because your body and brain's goal is to keep the eyes aligned. So even if you have a neck sprain or whiplash or some type of injury where you can't move your head and neck and you're stuck here maybe for a day, eventually it's going to get your eyes level. But now look, now could be shifted to the side, and it sticks there. You don't know it's there, but it's there, causing stress and strain on the nerves, go into your metabolism, go into your immune system, go into your digestive organs, go into your energy, just dissipate. So I just wanted to throw that one out there because you can look at it yourself in the mirror, a little mirror test. When posture also goes back to, what are you doing during the day? Are you slouched, hunched over? Are you sitting shifted over to one side or the other for longer periods of time? And longer periods of time could be maybe 20 to 30 minutes. And your body will start adapting and staying in that position. And by body, I mean your spine. So we want to help avoid that. Another way to identify if you have spinal distortion, spinal weakening, spinal misalignment is, do you have symptoms? And like the ones we talked about here, do you have low energy and fatigue, where it's not your thyroid, it's not your digestion, it's not, they can't find anything wrong with those organs. Do you have neck pain, back pain, headaches? Those are common ones. But these are all signs and symptoms that, okay, your spine could be weak, is having these symptoms. So how do we improve it? How do we make sure our spine is strong, as strong as we can get it? Not all the time, not in every instant, your spine can be completely ideal. It just depends on the level of damage that's done to it. But I believe it can always improve. If you can improve the function and the alignment of the spine even a little bit, it's going to help your body function better. So the Eaton method, EATM, exercise, adjust, traction, nutrition. So exercise, general exercises. Are you walking enough? Are you getting your body moving? Doing any resistance training, balance, yoga? Do you play any sports? Do you like to dance? Zumba? Those are all good general exercises to help circulation and keep your joints moving. And then more specifically for the spine, are you taking it through ranges of motion each day, getting towards the maximum ranges of motion of each of the directions that your spine can go in, from neck all the way down to pelvis? That's important. Specific postural exercises. So if you looked at your head and neck, again, in general, I'm not saying for you to do this, but if we had spinal x-rays and I saw through your posture that your head was shifted over to the left, a specific postural exercise for you would be, well, we're going to train you and you're going to practice shifting your head to the other direction, but it's got to be in the mirror image. So we don't do it to both directions in those instances because you're already stuck here. So we have to retrain the joints, the ligaments, the muscles into the other direction to take stress off of the spine and off of the nervous system. So that's exercise, adjusting your lifestyle. How are you going about your day posturally? Are you sitting down too much in a slumped position? Are you on your phone, on your laptop, on your iPad playing games? So what technology are you using? Are you sleeping propped up on pillows? When you are sitting, are you shifted off to one side or are you sitting straight? These are all adjustments to make to your lifestyle as to sitting. You want to sit both butt cheeks flat on whatever surface you are. Body upright, maybe a little 5-degree recline, whether you're driving in your car, whether you're sitting in a chair, instead of being slumped over and taking the shape of a soft couch or chair that you're sitting in. And this might be something that you have to work on over time. Probably will be, because it's more than likely going to be uncomfortable at first. But that's where the training comes in. We want simple and consistent effort with these types of exercises and adjustments, and even the traction, what I'm going to share with you here. In this, I explain, and as part of the spinal hygiene mini class, this is the T portion of it. Supportive towel traction. Yes, there are different devices that we use. As I'm a CBP certified chiropractor, Chiropractic Biophysics, which we specialize in specific postural exercises, adjustments to lifestyle and hands-on adjustments to the spine, traction of these tight ligaments to help remold them in the healthy position to help make sure that we support the, where am I getting? Sorry. Make sure that we support the curves of the spine in their quantity that it should be, as evidenced by the CBP research that has come out. So different traction to help mold your spine and these ligaments in a healthy position. So this is in the spinal hygiene mini class. You're welcome to it. Just type in spine and I'll send this, and it also has instructions on the nutrition part, which is the N, right? Nutrition. Hydration is a part of nutrition because we're putting that, it's not a chemical, but we're putting that into your body to help build up and give the raw materials to your spine, to your bones, ligaments, discs, nervous system. So it helps to take that raw material and implement it into the cells. So water is in hydration and clean water, putting maybe a little sea salt in your water to help delivery of that hydration into the cells to help build it up. Because that's what nutrition does, right? Or should do, provide the healthy raw materials to the body. Because if we eat too much processed food, too much dead food that's not, doing anything for our spine, it's just going to help break us down even more. And obviously nutrition is important for our energy. In this respect, what we're talking about is it helps the spine, helps the discs with healthy fats, with healthy proteins, with non-processed foods. We want whole foods. We want vegetables, fruits. One of my favorite ways to do that is through smoothies. I love having a smoothie every day. Maybe I'll even have a video. Let me know if you want me to do a video on how I do my smoothies. Type in smoothie in the comments, and then I'll put that on my list to do that. I'll do a back talk, take you into my kitchen and show you how I do it day by day. All right. So eating, exercise, adjust, traction, nutrition. If you want the breakdown of that, a spinal hygiene mini class, just type in spine and I'll get that sent to you. For those of you on the live right now in the chat, I already put it in the chat box. So you can click on that. Boom. Got that for you there. So as we wrap up, I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you bearing with me. I love teaching. I don't know if coaching, helping you to strengthen your spine, live an active life so you can BYOG. That's be your own guarantee for your health and your life. So if you have any questions, comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you on the next one.